We're just changing it.
Sorry.
No, we're good. One of the questions I asked before, and the sheriff had mentioned this in his remarks in an email a few days ago, was about the sheriff's union,
Right.
or the sergeant's union, pardon me.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about it. You reached the rank of sergeant. What's going on with that particular union, and why are members seeking to decertify?
They're seeking to decertify because they don't believe that the union brings everything to the table, and the fact that I think they wanted a quicker response with the union. The union has come in just to make a level playing field. To be honest with you, I'm surprised that the sheriff's not a little more accepting of the union, only because he can easily say, well, this is what was asked. We looked at it. We came to an agreement. We're all in agreement. So that if something happened and there was fallout from that, he can say, listen, we all agreed on this. We all agreed on this. But as a leader, I think he would want to try to go over and above to win the deputies back over. He knows that they're frustrated. What he does instead is he sends emails out trying to get all the deputies to fight amongst themselves. A leader should be the healing, the calming, the soothing balm. He should be the one saying, guys, stop. Let's sit down at the conference table. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's figure this out. Where did it go wrong? He has no desire to do that. And because of the paramilitary organization, he has someone else do that. So someone else is sitting in there at his direction, and then that person has to communicate it back to the sheriff. Okay, well, the sheriff's involved in a re-election, so I understand he's all over. But why not be there? Guys, what can we do? Tell me what you truly need. What do you truly see as a solution to this problem?
Do you realize, Mr. Fisher, that by siding with the deputies for the unions, you are alienating the tax-paying public?
I'm not siding with deputies and unions. I'm siding with fairness. I'm siding with people and their civil rights. Right now, he wants to squash the union and
No,
says...
I'm talking about money now. I'm talking about giving out my money
Okay.
to people who he feels don't deserve those bonuses. For whatever reason. I don't know the reason.
Right.
I don't know the sheriff.
Right.
I want you to know that.
Right.
I have met him twice socially. That's about it. So I don't know what his reasoning is for not spreading the bonuses around.
Right.
But I do know that people are talking about the fact that it's not the sheriff's money, it's our money, and it would be a good idea to be judicious
Absolutely.
about handing it out.
Right.
How is he going to balance the budget? How would you balance the budget if you are making all the deputies smile?
Okay, well, on budget, let's go ahead and entertain that. He says that he's dropped the budget in 4 years. Actually, he has to take ownership of the budget, because when he took over, there was actually one pay raise, and then he did a $19.50 across the board. So he accepted that budget and he took that. Now he's trimming the budget. The question that I think the taxpayers should be asking is, are we as effective and efficient right now, Sheriff, as what we were when you took over? Because you know he's going to answer yes. There's no other answer that he can possibly give. So when he says yes, my question as a taxpayer would be, so does that mean that compounded you have in fact stolen from the taxpayers far more than $30 million over the course of your tenure? Because if we're as efficient and effective now, you're trimming the budget, you're saying that we're effective, then what about all those years that you did have that money? How come there wasn't a reduction in the budget back then if we're as effective and efficient now? He has no answer for that. That being the case, a true audit, what has happened historically since I've been here at the Sheriff's Office is they just add 3% to it. Okay, we need to get back to a zero-based budget where we go in, you are a commander, and you ordered office furniture for your district. Well, rather than you leaving that in your budget and just adding 3% to it, we can remove that. All they're doing is add in that 3% in all these arenas, and then at the end of the year, they know where all those surpluses are, then they bring them back and then do whatever they need to do with that. That's not honest accounting. That's not honest budgeting. That's not fair to the taxpayers of Lee County. You have ripped them off for better than $30 million compounded easily without even blinking. If you've reduced it $20 million in the last 4 years, you've been the sheriff for 8. So compounded it's hurt us greatly. Let's go ahead and let's do a true, unbiased, and impartial forensic audit and see where those savings are. I know several areas, because I'm in the inside, I know several areas that we can save money. I will be able to save money, reduce the budget, and still bring the deputies up to a level where they're just even with everyone else. The problem that we have if we do not pick up the deputy salary is multi-fold. The first fold is that we're going to become the agency where all the young guys come because they know we can get hired because we have such a high turnover. They're going to come here. We're going to give them the wisdom and experience to be a good law enforcement officer because we're a good agency. But what's going to happen in 2 or 3 years, they're going to leave. And we're going to lose all that wisdom and experience, and now we're going to have to hire all over again. When a deputy who's been here for 8 years and making less than $40,000 can leave tomorrow and go to Miami Gardens and make $84,000, what do you think he's going to do or she's going to do for them and their family? They're going to leave.
So you would recommend that the salaries be equal to the $84,000 level?
No. I'm saying that the salaries be at least equal with the other law enforcement agencies in our area. We're 23% lower.
Oh, I thought you mentioned Miami.
Well, I'm just saying as far as the 84, they're going to leave and go wherever they can get the money because we just trained them. The deficit that we have as Lee County citizens and taxpayers is we just paid over the course of 2-3 years how much wisdom and experience for that deputy. And now they're taking it somewhere else. Well, and then we got to start that process all over. Well, if you look at it, it's probably easy, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 range, all the training that we had to invest into that deputy, and then they take off and go. Well, when they leave, if we was to give them that 18%, that's a whole lot less than the next $30,000 or $40,000 that we're going to invest in the next guy. So it's a bad revolving door. What also happens,
but if we jump it from 34 to 54,
it's not that high, but yes.
Why would that prevent them from going to Miami for 84?
Because it's a little more hostile over there. So you got to figure out, in your wisdom and experience, would you rather have more money and be in a higher probability to get hurt, or would you like to have a fair and equal salary to what is happening around here and be in a little safer community?
Okay, we have about 3 minutes left of the interview. Martha?
I don't like a law enforcement agency to gamble with my safety.
Yes, ma'am.
And what areas of Lee County are not safe?
I would say that Lehigh Acres is struggling right now. When I was at the festival for Lehigh Acres, you're talking 200 square miles. And the deputies in that 200 square miles was 4 deputies. That was on a Friday night. That being the case, that is unacceptable simply because if there's one, let's say a domestic incident, probably 2 deputies are going to respond to that, and now you got 2 other deputies for the entire county. If you remember correctly, and sir, you've been here for a long time, under Rodney Shope, the citizens of Lehigh Acres did what they called a red shirt initiative, where they went to the Board of County Commissioners and said, listen, we need more deputies. And they did it. They were successful. They got 12 more deputies over what they already had assigned to the district. You have to have a deterrent in crime. You have to have deputies that are out there patrolling, trying to stop the residential burglaries. Nothing's more violating. It's almost like a actual sexual assault when you come home and your house has been burglarized because you feel so violated. We have to stop that. We can stop that with more deputies on the street. NYPD did it. What they accomplished over the course of a period of time is they hired more officers, paid them more and better benefits, and actually saved money on the budget because they wasn't paying for the inmates. The inmate cost, a yearly cost for the inmates, they were able to reduce it because they made a reduction in the amount of inmates that was there because there was deputies all over, well, for them, police officers that were all over, and people didn't commit crimes because they're like, goodness, I'm going to get caught. So it's a good deterrent. It stops the inmates, and then it saves us money here, so we actually have a safer community, and it saved the taxpayers money. We need more law enforcement officers, not less, for heaven's sakes.
So Lehigh is an unsafe community?
I'm saying Lehigh doesn't have enough deputies. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that any of our communities are any unsafe than any other one.
I thought that was your question.
Oh, no. I just said, what communities are not safe? I guess that was the question.
None of them are as safe as what they could be. I'm not picking any community over any other. The level of crimes in Lehigh are far greater than any other one. Absolutely. Is it less safe? I don't know if it's less safe, but I know it would certainly be safer. It would certainly be a better deterrent. Right now, the Sheriff's Office command staff is 38%. National average is 17%. Let's get those butts out of seats and boots on the streets. I can cut command staff, and by cutting command staff, I can put more deputies on the street. We're at a level that's lower than what I was when I was working the road in '95, where there's less deputies out there, and we know on an average over these years that we've been growing at 16,000 a year. That's the number that we've always been told. So since '95, 16,000 every year, that's a lot of folks. The deputy numbers on the road that are answering the calls aren't there. Headquarters is loaded with leaders. Guess what? When 911 happens, the folks that are dialing 911 and need help, they don't give a hoot how many people's in that building. They want to have a deputy come into the house and helping them through their tragedy and their crisis at that moment in time. They're not getting that service because too much is being spent on the top, and we can funnel that down. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The bottom one is security. That's what we need to do. We got to trim it.
Would the union let you do that?
I'm sorry?
Would the union let you do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because what we'll be doing is create an environment on the bottom where everything's fair. I want to bring back a promotional process that's fair, not simply because you're kissing up to me. I don't need you to kiss up to me. I need you to be efficient and do a work product for the citizens of Lee County that is comparable to the income that you're getting. When we're hiding promotional political promotions from the past, whatever era you want, and we have people that are making $100,000 and they're in charge of themselves and maybe one other person, or they're in charge of 6 people, just on a ratio of a leader to a subordinate, as you know from the military, you try to keep it at least 1 to 6. You know, 1 leader, so like 1 sergeant and 6 deputies. And then if you get a lieutenant in there, then you really should have as many as 6 sergeants, and then 6 times 6 is 36 deputies, roughly as a guideline. We have captains that have less than 10 people under them. How can we justify that to the citizens of Lee County, saying that they're getting a justifiable work product when they're not in charge of anything? When you take a captain who has more experience in homicide than probably anyone else in the agency, and you put him in charge of 4 people simply because he had a Timmy Fisher bumper sticker on his car, when you do that, you're hurting the citizens. I understand you're sending a subliminal message and you're trying to affect the flock and all those in there. You're trying to control it and saying, I'm the leader and I'll do what I want. I understand that. But it's not fair to the citizens. The citizens are the ones being hurt. What kind of a work product are we losing from a man with that kind of wisdom and experience when he's in charge of 4 deputies? I was a supervisor over the schools. At any time, I had no less than 13 deputies. So you're saying a sergeant who's making far less than a captain is in charge of 13 deputies and that captain is only in charge of 4 deputies? How is that a justifiable work product? How is that being a fiscal conservative for the tax dollars and being a steward of the budget that is given to us as a leader?
Well, Mr. Fisher,
I can do better.
We've come to the end of our interview. I want to thank you so much. And are there any final comments you'd like to make before we conclude?
I can do better because I have a heart of being a servant. My entire life is all about others. I've turned rank down simply because where I was, I believed that I was a benefit to the agency. That's the kind of leader that we need to have in place over a law enforcement officer. We have to get back to the basics of law enforcement. Politicians are not going to work in this position as a law enforcement agency. The sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer for this agency. We have to have a cop. I have more wisdom and more experience than what Mike Scott ever had when he took over in 2004. So if you think he's a good sheriff, I just may be the best sheriff that Lee County's seen in recent history.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.